Katz is a senior columnist for the Jerusalem Post and co-author of the new book, While Israel Slept. Becky Anderson spoke to him earlier this week about Israel's announced ground incursion into Gaza City and how it's being perceived in Washington.
The intentions, Becky, are basically to ramp up the pressure on Hamas and try and get Hamas to understand that this is a make or break moment and that the pressure is there militarily, but also politically with the backing of the United States. And therefore, it is in their interest to make that deal that can finally end the war, get the hostages home, the 48 who are still being held.
You have been speaking with senior Israeli officials who are communicating Israel's position with Washington. Does Israel have Donald Trump's full support for this incursion into Gaza City and possibly beyond?
I think that it's a bit of a mixed bag, Becky. On the one hand, Donald Trump is communicating publicly that there is no daylight between Washington and Jerusalem, and that Prime Minister Netanyahu and the government in Jerusalem have the full backing of the Trump administration. We saw that this week with the visit of U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and how he publicly was not even willing to go even too far in criticism of Israel for attacking in Doha. With that said, privately, there is definitely a sense within the Trump administration that is being communicated back to Israel that they want to see this war wrapped up. It's time for this to end, and they do expect the prime minister to make a deal, even if it's not going to be the full comprehensive deal that he talks about. It will be a phase deal, but they do want to see him making a deal that will end the war and bring in a ceasefire. I think that the prime minister has succeeded in convincing Donald Trump that this operation in Gaza City has the ability to potentially break the back of Hamas, and has convinced him to give him those few weeks. But I don't anticipate that rope is going to be much longer for Israel to keep this going beyond, let's say, the end of this year.
There is a growing narrative that I hear now, which is becoming pretty noisy around this region, that says that Israel is the greatest threat to this region at present under the stewardship of Benjamin Netanyahu. What's his future?
Well, I would push back on that. I don't think that Israel is the one that is causing this, right? There's a simple way for this war to end. Give back the 48 hostages and this ends, right? It could end today. But I do think that Israel is more isolated than ever before. We just heard the prime minister say this week that he sees Israel turning into a super Sparta economy, that we will have to look only internally. Our ties with the world are becoming strained, and we cannot rely on trade ties, on defense ties with anyone else. That's not the Israel that the Israeli people want. That's not the Israel, I think, that was envisioned by our founding fathers back when the inception of the state in 1948. And when we look at Netanyahu, it's really going to come down to, I think, what will be the story he will be able to tell the people once that new election comes, whether it's when it's supposed to be in October of next year, or it's going to be earlier, which I would predict it would be. And can he declare a victory, the re-engineering of the Middle East, which is to his credit, Iran on the defensive, Lebanon, where Hezbollah has been beaten back, the Assad regime toppled, not directly by Israel, but a consequence in Syria. There are great new opportunities on the horizon in the Middle East, and he will try to depict and portray those as the other side of October 7th, the successful side of the war that Israel was forced into.